This is your sports TV station in Lorain, WLCS TV 20.
Hello and welcome to George Daniels Stadium, 8th grade football action here on WLCS TV 20. The Longfellow Longhorns taking on Milkovich of Maple Heights. I'm Hyatt Hernan, alongside me Don Vincent for this run. And Longfellow in the blue, Milkovich in the burgundy red. And right off the bat, a good 6-yard run for Longfellow.
Well, again, you start off pretty basic in an 8th grade football game. What you want to do is make sure that you get positive yardage on first down. Set yourself up pretty decently here on second and about third on second down. You'll take that.
So Longfellow out in the I formation on 2nd and 3. The handoff, and right up the middle goes Sean Petty, and just enough to get the first down across to the 46.
Well, you got enough there. You pick up, 4, maybe 5 on that second down carry. You move the sticks and set yourself up a little bit more. You really want to look to establish things here early on in terms of your ground game. Then you can worry about everything else.
So with the run, 1st and 10 from the 47. This time the run to the outside, swung around and brought down across the 50. Is Michael Harrell, and he gets all the way across to the 44.
And Michael does one of the things that you're coached not to do. He gets up there and he gives up ground, but his speed is good to the corner, gets around the edge and picks up a nice chunky yardage there, close to first down yardage.
Yeah, with the spot of just under a yard to go for the first down for the Longhorns. And a whistle blown.
Official's going to stop something. Apparently one of the young men had either something around his wrist or on his hand, or... Oh, it's a mouthpiece. Got it. Okay. Pop that puppy back in. You don't need to rinse it off.
So now on second, keeping it himself is Dower. Dower across the 40 and wrapped up and brought down at the 38 for the first down. And Longfellow driving into Milkovich territory here.
Pick up a 6. This is pretty straightforward, and a nice job blocking out on the end, occupying those guys. In fact, that one defensive end got popped a couple different times, creating space for the quarterback to get around the corner. So you'll take that just about any time.
So 1st and 10 from the Milkovich 39 coming up for the Longhorns. The handoff to Harrell. He's hit in the backfield, still on his feet, and brought down back at the 41. So a loss of 2 on that one. And that was Lance Nimmer on the tackle for Milkovich.
Well, they stopped. The offensive line got stopped, but almost before they got to the line of scrimmage. That defensive line from, Milkovich got in there pretty quick. And once you give up your momentum going into the line, you're kind of doomed. First loss on the afternoon.
So after the loss, 2nd and 12 from the 41. Dower again keeping himself, looking throw, has a man open down the field. That one is caught by Johan Suarez, one man to beat, and he is in the end zone. Touchdown for the Longhorns. A 41-yarder.
Well, you'll take that, and again, good patience. We saw that rollout by the quarterback just a couple plays ago, and then he pulls up and throws it down. Everyone's playing up on run support, and then just kind of leaking behind there was Suarez, and ends up going into the end zone despite that hit right at the goal line.
So the Longhorns lead 6-0 with the 2-point conversion coming up here, trying to make it 8-0. Dower under center, Petty and Harrell in the backfield. Harrell gets the handoff, runs head forward, and stopped short. So this one will stay 6-0, but still an impressive showing from the Longhorns on that first drive.
Well, 6 plays to take it the distance, and you got a couple good rips there. Not anything huge up until that pass for the touchdown, but positive yardage on all but one snap. So again, you should be pretty happy with that performance, especially to start out a game.
And now Milkovich will take over Of course, in middle school football, both 7th and 8th grade, there are no kickoffs. The team will just take over at the 35-yard line. And that's largely a health concern now because so many injuries happen on those kickoffs.
The idea here is to keep the kids safe. I was talking with the coaching staff from Milkovich, and the young man playing quarterback is going to be your go-to guy, Lamar Bell. So watch for him most of the afternoon.
So Bell in the shotgun. He's just going to hand it on the draw and wrapped up and brought down at the line of scrimmage by Michael Harrell. That was Isaac Bizel on the carry, but Michael Harrell with the great open field tackle to stop that one in his tracks.
Again, good pursuit down the line. Anytime you've got a guy working down the line, you're getting where you want to be, especially coming out of that quarterback, that linebacker position, coming up in that run support as Harrell did.
So again, in the shotgun is Lamar Bell. With him is Isaac Bizel and Lance Nimmer. This time the handoff to Nimmer, and again brought down behind the line. Looks like Harrell, Petty, and Dwyer all getting equal parts of that one. And that'll bring up 3rd and long for Milkovich.
Part of the challenge for Milkovich today is we get another look at this, and that one was stopped almost before it started. You've got to give credit to the running back for actually getting back to the line. Nimmer did a nice job getting back to, well, not quite to the line of scrimmage, lost a couple, but, well, he could have given up on that and got stopped for about a 5-yard loss.
So 3rd and 13 from the 32. And keeping it himself is Bell. Bell breaks one tackler but is wrapped up and brought down for a loss. And that'll bring up 4th and long. Michael Harrell making another good tackle there. And he's played solidly on both sides of the ball so far on this one.
So, punt situation here, and again, junior high. Should be no rush.
So it looks like Bell back to punt, and 3 men set to return for Longfellow. Bell's punt is high and short, and that one will hit and down and die at the 43-yard line.
First series, defensive series at least for Longfellow, pretty positive overall. You end up, setting the opposing offense back with 4 yards and lost ground, and obviously for Milkovich not where you want to be, but if you're a Longfellow fan, as most of the folks watching on WLCS probably are, you'll take that to start the game off. You got a score and you got a nice stop on the defensive side of things.
Yeah, I'm not sure even with the punt that ball got across for the first down.
It didn't. I can guarantee that, and here comes the rain, and we have a timeout, I'm guessing.
Longfellow took a timeout.
All right.
And the rain is coming down hard at George Daniels Stadium. But this stoppage gives me a chance to tell you about the Lorain School Employees Credit Union. Are you employed by or retired from the Lorain City Schools? If the answer is yes, then pay close attention to the following. Don't be penalized with low interest rates on your investments. Step up in the pocket and pass your funds to the Lorain School Employees Credit Union. We will tackle the competition so you win the financial game of interest. Choose a certificate of deposit so you win the financial game of interest. And watch your APY score the maximum. Call us at 282-4600.
Certainly want to take advantage of that if you're an employee or a former employee. Retiree, as it were, Lorain City Schools. Great opportunities to manage your money and do so effectively.
And they've been great supporters of WLCS TV 20 since the day I stepped in here 4 years ago. So their support is much appreciated as Longfellow takes over. Harrell cutting this one to the outside again. He's at the 30, at the 20, at the 10, and he is going to take this one the distance. 12-0 Longfellow. Takes Michael Harrell one play, 42 yards to get that one in the house.
Well, it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing really fancy about this. Looks to go up inside and then bends it outside. Has good blocking on the edge, and then it's just a good set of wheels around the edge. He gets to the 20, forget about it. He's going in.
43!
So now Longfellow leads 12-0, trying to make it 14-0. Dower keeping himself, the pass just off the hands of Jesus Arolia. And so 12-0 the score here at George Daniels Stadium.
Well, that drive summary makes it pretty easy. I mean, there's not a whole lot of mystery there. One play takes it 42 yards. And again, what we're seeing, in all honesty, and this isn't an excuse or anything for the young man from Milkovich, there's a number of guys that aren't available for him this year. It's one of the reasons, folks need to stay in school and do all those things to be able to come out on the field. So they're hurting that way. What I would really think is Coach Brian Cox needs to put Milkovich in a position. By the way, that looks like snow, fellas.
I do think it is snow.
He needs to put his guys in the position to make some small gains and just bring up something positive out of this first quarter here, going into the second quarter shortly.
So now under center is Milkovich, and that is a fumbled snap. Lamar Bell able to fall on it, so Milkovich will retain possession. And Milkovich takes their first timeout. The one thing that impresses me watching all these middle school games is this Longfellow team looks like it has a lot of good up-and-coming players, and this is only half the talent pool for Lorain. Now, of course, Johnny Wilson, the other half.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great point. And, unfortunately, and I know I heard you guys talking about it earlier, we were scheduled to actually bring you that Longfellow General Johnny Wilson ball game, and unfortunately some scheduling snafus along the way kind of caught us up in that. That would have been a good one to watch as well. But I think you're right, and I think you take a look at this talent pool and what it can bring to the field, and remember that this is one grade. So you put a couple grades together and you come up with a varsity squad 4 years down the road, where these guys can contribute as early as their sophomore year for the most part. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, it is exciting. It's good to have an opportunity for us as broadcasters to take a look at these guys as they begin their development and be able to look back and say, I remember calling the game for that kid when he was in junior high,
I was down on the Longfellow sidelines before the game, and this was still the buzz. Longfellow won that General Johnny Wilson game 48-8.
A bunch.
That was a 7th grade game, of course, but it still feels good for them to beat their rivals.
No doubt.
And another mishandled snap, and Lorain comes up with it.
Wow.
That was Rayshawn Rogers on that one. And that was 2 snaps in a row that Lamar Bell just couldn't quite handle.
Well, this is probably the first time these guys have had to deal with this weather. The fact that it's, number one, it's wet out there, but number two, it's cold. It's actually very chilly. And there's not been a whole lot of time to acclimate to this colder weather. As I was down there on the field, just like you were earlier, those kids are a little surprised, I think, by the temperatures.
Yeah, that's what you can expect from Ohio weather, really any time past September.
Agreed.
Now Dower under center sends Petty in motion. The toss almost mishandled, but able to reel it in. That toss was to Gerald McCall.
Well, I think, I think we're going to get a look at it here with the score 12-0 in favor of Longfellow. There was some intent for a reverse here. The pitch goes around. You have another guy coming back underneath. Pitch guy would have been, I believe, Suarez, going around the other way.
So almost impressive that they were able to get a handle on that one, as the handoff on second down is to Petty. And Petty will spin to the 22, and that should bring up 3rd and 1 for this Longfellow offense.
Yeah, anytime you can take a busted play and turn it into something positive, yeah, you'll take that.
And it set up a good short yardage situation here.
And I wouldn't be afraid in this situation to really open things up. I mean, I'd be thinking long ball again here. you've dominated the line of scrimmage early on. Why not go ahead and take this as a 4-down opportunity?
Dower under center. Could be looking throw, but he stumbles in the backfield, and that'll be a loss of 2. And that'll bring up 4th and 3 for Longfellow.
There goes my theory.
Well, again, this has gone from looking like rain to snow, and now it's completely stopped.
Yeah.
So hard to get a grip on what's going on down there.
Go back to what you said. Welcome to Ohio. There's no doubt about that.
So 4th and 3 coming up. Longfellow leading in this one 12-0. Of course, in a middle school game, the clock is kept down on the field, so you get a sense we're nearing the end of the first quarter.
Oh, boy.
This handoff, breaking at the 5 and into the end zone is Gerald McCall. He's the one who was able to handle the odd toss earlier, and now he gets in the end zone to make this one 18-0, a 23-yard run. And now Longfellow will bring out the 2-point team to try to make this 20-0.
I don't imagine we'll see a whole heck of a lot of anything other than 2-point attempts here, to be perfectly honest with you. Here's another peek at it. Boy, he just hits that hole off the tackle so quickly. He was touched once going in, but that's all it was.
And this time the toss again. And in the end zone for the 2-point conversions is McCall. So he gets the touchdown and he gets the 2. Longfellow leading Milkovich 20-0.
Folks, I want to remind you, even as we're sitting here, my phone keeps buzzing in my pocket, and I went and checked, and that's Joe Bach on his Twitter feed. It's actually, one of the great things about WLCS is obviously you can watch it on, if you live in Lorain, on cable. But you also have the opportunity to check things out as we check out this 2-point extra point again. You have a chance to check us out some other ways. YouTube, a lot of the games and a lot of the activities, and I'm not just talking sports. I'm talking music and arts and what have you are available there. On Friday nights, I'm normally out doing radio broadcasts, and that's the way I keep track of the Titans. I know what's going on based on the Twitter feed, and I really appreciate that. So, don't forget, check us out. Twitter's at LCS_TV20. Lorain Schools TV20 on YouTube for all that stuff. So lots of different ways for you to keep track of what's going on. Lorain Schools sports and other activities. And looks like we flipped the field here, partner.
And we just mentioned the clock a moment ago. So we enter the second quarter now. Longfellow takes a 20-0 lead into the second. And they looked good in the first. We didn't get to see a lot of their defense, but on the first drive, I think they gave up -4 yards.
Correct. -4 on the first drive, -5 on the second before that fumble, and 2 mishandled snaps that last offensive series for Milkovich, and that'll do you in. You got to hold on to the ball.
So Lamar Bell will keep it this time, and he is wrapped up again. Michael Harrell. What a good day for him on defense and offense. Another open field tackle. And that'll be a gain of 4 for Milkovich.
Kind of imagining that we'll see Bell just turn these upfield a little bit more. Good penetration by the defensive line for Longfellow, and it required the linebackers to kind of pursue laterally. And you got, again, good pursuit laterally and making that play before Bell could get to the edge.
So 2nd and 6 from the 39 for Milkovich. And last drive, they came off of the shotgun. Of course, now a penalty flag thrown. And this one going against Milkovich, delay of game. And that'll put them back 5 yards.
First penalty of the ball game on either squad, and unfortunately for Milkovich, that one's backing them up. They saw their first positive yardage of the game on that run by Bell, and now they're backed up a yard past the line of scrimmage, and they're going to get backed up even a little bit more here.
And man in motion was Walker, but a legal procedure, and that's 5 more yards. So it was 2nd and 6, now 2nd and 16. For Milkovich. And they have to get something going if they want to keep up with the Longhorns.
You've given up 20 in that first quarter, so yeah, I would agree 100%. You've got to get on your horse here sometime soon.
Man in motion is Walker. Bell keeping it himself and brought down back at the 26. A loss of 3 on that one.
First contact by Dimitri Noble, getting up across the line pretty well and really busting that play up. Anytime you can disrupt the timing and the movement early on and force a guy back in, slow him down, and let somebody follow in. And the follow-up tackle, I believe, was that Suarez coming up?
It looks like Suarez back there. And Noble just completely shifted past 2 blockers to get the first penetration. And 3rd and forever coming up
pretty close
for Milkovich.
Sure.
Bell looking throw, pressure in his face, lofts this one up, and knocked down by the Longfellow defense. And that's 4th down. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the punt team coming back out here.
Devin Bishop was the intended receiver out there, and really early on in his route was available. And Bell just couldn't get it to him in time. Wanted to go a little bit deeper with that one, but good defensive pressure as well. By the time the ball got there had to be, 3-4 sets of blue jerseys around him.
So Milkovich set to punt. Cario Edwards, the return man, a little bit of trouble with the snap, and this one is low but will roll across to the 45, and that one would have been just enough yardage for the first down, as Lorain will take over in Milkovich territory.
So they spot this right at the 45. And, here's part of the problem for Milkovich. You keep putting Longfellow on the short porch. They're going to take a little bit of a timeout here. It's tough enough against an offense that's already demonstrated on its first set of downs that they can be pretty effective moving the ball. But, you put them on the short porch here, it gets even tougher. So I would look for Longfellow to kind of get on it here pretty quick and try to stick another quick score into the end zone.
Yeah, we've seen what their runners can do, really displaying a speed that Milkovich was having trouble with. Once the Longfellow runners got past the first wave, it seemed like there was no one there in front of them.
And I think also, you're seeing from Longfellow some good blocking up front that's going to give them the corner, and that's, I think, where Milkovich is having the bigger problem. I agree, Hyatt, that, once you get to that edge or you get into that second level, it gets a whole lot tougher. And it's not just a junior high thing. I mean, that's just football in general. The numbers game will get you.
So Longfellow will take over 1st and 10 in Milkovich territory at the 45 here in the second quarter. They put 20 on the board in the first, and we'll see if they can keep that pace up. Harrell gets the handoff, stopped at the line, but is going to break this one out to the right side and turn this one into a 10-plus yard gain, and he is gone all the way off of what looked like a broken play, and Harrell turns it into 6 points.
That's the second one-play drive for Longfellow, and you're right. And I'm looking forward to seeing this because I think 2 things, real quick. You're going to see some good footwork here by Harrell. Does a nice job keeping his balance, and everyone maintains their blocks inside. But again, you get to the corner, and it's just a sprint into the end zone, and it's tough to get that guy on the dead run.
And that one will give Longfellow a 26-0 lead. And, of course, the 2-point conversion coming up right now. The toss play and all kinds of room for Gerald McCall. And that will make it 28-0. As you said, another one-play drive for Longfellow.
Yeah. It's getting kind of tough here. I got to tell you, it's this is a really good example of just how easy it's been for Longfellow on this afternoon. There wasn't any contact even going into the end zone on that extra point play.
If Longfellow had backups, they'd probably think about putting them in. I'm not sure with their roster who does and doesn't get playing time.
Well, I would imagine everybody's going to get a little bit of time today. It's tough as a coach because you want to you want to recognize the efforts of those guys that have been your ones. And they put the effort in. They've won the position, so you might want to make sure to give them some time. And we're going to get a timeout on the field here called by Milkovich, so it'll take a little bit more of a break here. But, typically coaches will want to hold off until after the first possession of the second half to kind of get their twos and their threes if you go that deep into the ball game. But I kind of understand your perspective as well, and you can kind of run guys back and forth and in and out and try some different combinations here when you're enjoying this much of a second quarter lead, a 28-0 second quarter lead.
And again, with Longfellow's roster, even the way it is, it looks like a lot of these guys are getting playing time anyways,
Right.
not an incredibly deep roster, not that that's expected from an 8th grade team in the first place. So Milkovich taking over at the 45, and another penalty and another illegal procedure will back them up 5 yards. And right off the bat, this penalty problem is becoming a bigger and bigger problem for Milkovich.
Absolutely.
So 1st and 15 for Milkovich at the 30 now, needing to get to the 45 for the first. Bell in the shotgun, takes the low snap. The throw has a man open but can't quite get it. The intended receiver on that one, it looks like Jamal Walker. And now the sun is shining brightly here at George Daniel Stadium. So I think we've had every bit of weather we possibly could.
Welcome to Ohio.
So 2nd and 15 coming up for Milkovich here in the second quarter. Bell, the snap low again, and he's going to take off with this one. And he is wrapped up and brought down. That was Zach Gonzalez as well as Adriano Ayala.
Again, watch his pressure right up the front. Everything slowed down. Everything changes as soon as you get that big pressure up the front, and it's those big guys that can take care of business for you.
So the loss is 5 yards for Milkovich, and that will bring up 3rd down and 20. Another low snap, and Bell's just going to have to run with this one, and he has nowhere to go.
He was in no man's land. He didn't stand a chance of getting out of dodge on that one. He ends up getting dropped for about another 6-yard loss.
So that'll bring up 4th down. Here's the replay again. And I think the entire Longfellow defensive line was in on that one.
Pretty much. Well, that low snap is just going to disrupt everything. And, here's one thing I don't like to see. One of the Milkovich young men limping off the field, and I think that was Bell. They're going to end up taking another time out here just to make sure everybody's okay.
Well, this stoppage, again, gives me time to tell you about the Lorain School Employees Credit Union. Are you employed by or retired from the Lorain City Schools? If the answer is yes, then pay close attention to the following. Red zone, end zone, O-zone. Got you confused? Make your next play a touchdown with a certificate of deposit at the Lorain School Employees Credit Union. Our playbook has a CD rate that will score every time. Call your play at 282-4600 or stop by the office at 4459 Oberlin Avenue, Lorain. Once again, at 282-4600, 4459 Oberlin Avenue, Lorain, Ohio.
I'll look at some of the folks here in attendance at George Daniel. Boy, look how bright it's gotten.
A matter of 15 minutes.
See, there you go. It's bright on the field. You look up at the sky here in Lorain, and it looks terrible.
So it looks like Milkovich set to punt. And that is Armonte Bush back to punt. Lamar Bell's been doing the punting thus far. And Bush's punt is high and will take a Milkovich bounce across the 40. And Longfellow will take over again, already in Milkovich territory.
See where they actually spot this. About the what, the 41?
Looks like the 41, yes. And if I'm correct, Longfellow has scored on every drive so far.
You are absolutely correct. And that first possession was really the only scoring drive, per se. The other ones were pretty quick turnarounds.
So Longfellow looking to capitalize quickly again.
Looks like we may have changed quarterbacks.
That is Cario Edwards in at quarterback. And he will hand off to Harrell. Harrell having some trouble with the handoff. He'll pick that one up and get a minimal gain of maybe 1 yard.
Well, what he did really nicely was keep the ball in front of him. It's so easy to start reaching around. They're going to mark that back at the line of scrimmage, so no gain on that. But this is one, coaches will tell you to fall on that thing, make sure you get it, but you get a good bounce sometimes. You're able to turn it into something positive, and not necessarily positive yardage this time, but certainly, avoiding the loss.
So 2nd and 10 coming up after the fumble. The pitch this time to Harrell. He has the corner. He's still on his feet. Cuts back to the 20, to the 10, and he is taking this one all the way. 34-0 now the score. And Michael Harrell has gone off.
Yeah, he has. Starting to do some stats. He's got to be over 100 yards here. I mean, the rushing numbers for Longfellow. And again, just, good job blocking out front. There's one job that effectively takes out 2 guys, and then the third, what a great job blocking there by Dower.
And looking at it, I mean, it looked like he was running through traffic, but I think only one guy actually got his hands on him.
Well, and that's due to that good blocking. I mean, a good block doesn't mean you have to knock a guy down. It helps, but if you can just slow him down, turn his shoulders, move him away from the ball, you've done your job as a blocker.
So the 2-point conversion coming up. McCall is back there, and he's taking the last 2 in. Instead, they opt to pass this one, and that one falls incomplete. Cario Edwards with his first pass attempt of the day.
Tough to complete passes at the junior high level. I mean, you got to try, you got to do those things. You keep the defense honest and, all those kinds of slogans, but it's tough to manage a good air attack in junior high ball.
And especially, I mean, this time of year it's cold out there. It looks like it very well could be wet on the field still. So Longfellow, with the missed 2-point conversion, still leads 34-0. Milkovich will take over at the 35, and again, we have no clock available to us. That is kept down on the field, but you get the sense that this first half is coming to a close.
Yeah, I'm kind of questioning if we'll even see all the plays in this particular possession for Milkovich.
The snap low again, and that is a replacement quarterback in for Milkovich. Devin Bishop takes over for Lamar Bell.
Big loss there on that first down.
Here it is again. And this Longfellow defensive front 7 has had a big day. Rayshawn Rogers getting in the backfield that time.
Well, still out there hustling down the line and getting after the quarterback, regardless of what number he's wearing.
And Lamar Bell walking along the sidelines. It looked like he may have gotten a slight injury. He limped a bit off the field last possession, but he's walking on that sideline. And
muff snap, and I'm thinking
like
that might be Longfellow's ball.
Longfellow took over.
I didn't quite see all the action in the middle. I'm pretty sure, again, with a new quarterback coming in, that exchange between center and quarterback becomes more challenging and more problematic. And seen it a couple times, ball never really did get up off the ground.
Yeah, that one just never even really went anywhere, just dropping right under the center, and Lorain able to come up with it.
Wanted to see who came up with that, and I didn't quite get it on the replay. I wanted to give that young man credit. Anytime you come up with a fumble, that's a good effort.
And a penalty flag thrown here. It could be too many men on Longfellow. Looked like Petty was trying to run off at the last second there.
Yep.
He's off now, but
Yep.
that would have been 12.
Well, that's truly the first blemish on this performance for Longfellow, and you're almost at the end of the second quarter.
And especially with the personnel changes that have been made, just some confusion.
Agreed.
And still having some issues as Dower runs off late. And this one, penetration from Milkovich to the quarterback. He drops the ball, and it looks like Longfellow came up with it.
I'm interested in seeing this replay because that's a heck of a play on a couple different levels here. If he actually got the handoff, I'll be impressed. Sean Petty ends up with the ball. Yeah, he handed it off to him. Good job getting it to him, and then Petty able to pick up a couple out of that, or at least picked up the 5 that they lost on the penalty before.
I had thought that there was a fumble there, but a good heads-up play by Cario Edwards filling in at quarterback to get that handoff off. And another penalty. Another penalty against Longfellow. Too many men again. Or excuse me.
Might have been the delay.
Might have been the delay.
Yeah.
But still, the issue appears to be that they have too many men because Petty ran off late.
Right.
So it'll go down as a delay of game. But Longfellow facing some confusion in the huddle here.
He goes back. You were talking about moving people in and out. There you go.
And they hand off to McCall for 2. But again, Milkovich's defensive line starting to get that kind of pressure that we haven't seen from them.
They're doing a nice job just kind of holding at the line of scrimmage, and then you get a decent tackle coming off the defensive end and bringing down a young man who's had a pretty good afternoon, already in McCall.
So 3rd down and 14 for this Longfellow offense, needing to get to the 18 for the first down. And it looks like that will do it for the half. So Longfellow leads 34-0 here at George Daniels Stadium. Stick around because after these messages, we'll be back with second half action here on WLCS TV 20. Hello and welcome back to George Daniels Stadium. 8th grade football action here on WLCS TV 20. The Longfellow Longhorns lead Milkovich of Maple Heights 34-0 at the start of the second half. I'm Hyatt Hernan, alongside me Don Vincent, and really in the first half, Longfellow completely dominant of play.
Absolutely no question. I'll throw you some stats here after this first snap from the line of scrimmage, but yeah, you'll be impressed with at least a couple of those numbers, just like you should be impressed with that tackle. Wow. Talk about taking charge here to start things off in the second half.
Adriano Ayala coming up with the tackle right from his position at defensive end, or excuse me, defensive tackle.
It actually came from the other side of the line and did a nice job making the contact, wrapping up, and bringing the runner down. Well done.
So that was a loss of just over 3.
So for some reason they're sending one of the young men from Longfellow out to the sideline. I don't know if it's an injury or what it is, but they'll send him over, bring another body in. Couple different guys. Okay, so we're getting the word it's an equipment issue.
Well, there we go. It looked like the referee was checking something on the helmet. Maybe a lack of mouth guard or a proper chin strap.
Uh-oh.
A whole bunch of pressure for Longfellow here.
They're going to call that an incomplete pass, and the officials kind of checking out the action back at the quarterback, and fortunately not dropping a flag. But again, you see, it's almost like a jailbreak. I mean, everybody's heading north. Good gosh.
So that will bring up 3rd and 13 for Milkovich. And this is pretty much what we've seen all game long from this Longfellow defense. Milkovich taking their time in the huddle.
Not a bad idea for them to slow things down as much as they can right now. On a couple different levels. Number one, it keeps the ball in your hands a little bit longer, but gives you an opportunity to kind of think about where you want to be and what you want to do.
Lamar Bell back at quarterback for Milkovich. This time he'll hand it off to Lance Nimmer, who gets just to the line of scrimmage, maybe. It looks like with the spot a loss of 1. And that will bring up 4th down and 15 for Milkovich.
We see another punt here. And that's kind of been the dance card for Milkovich. 1, 2, 3, kick it away.
And this punt is an odd one, kind of squibbing along the ground. And this one will get just across the 50.
Might be his best punt of the day, but like you said, very, very different style-wise. And this is actually going to be the worst starting position, field position, since the first
that first drive
game. Yeah.
And Longfellow across in their own territory at the 48, but still in their own territory.
Coach walking along the sideline. Sure, Coach King's happy with exactly what's going on and proud of where his players are right now.
So that is Edwards still at the quarterback position. He replaced Dower late in the second. And this handoff to McCall picks up 9, getting it to the 44.
And that handoff is coming. There's great pressure coming up the middle. And you'll see it here. Boy, almost as soon as that snap goes off, there's a guy cutting through that gap. And the handoff getting to the running back is just getting there. Might have to tighten up those splits in between the center and the guard.
So 2nd and short coming up for the Longhorns. The handoff this time to Dower. Dower along the right side has the first down and is taken out of bounds at the 35.
Pick up of about 7 on that carry. Looking at some first half numbers, some pretty impressive numbers. McCall ran the ball 5 times for 32 yards and a touchdown. Dower with 2 rushes for 4 yards. Petty with 3 rushes and 16. Harrell, check this out. Touched the ball 8 times. Ended up putting together 142 yards and 3 scores.
Wow.
You'll take that.
Yeah. And exciting to see what his and many of these other players' future is next year as freshmen with the high school. And that flag thrown, that snap maybe just late. No. The call against Longfellow.
Count helmets.
Looks like 11.
It would have been illegal participation then. But I didn't see anybody leaving the huddle when somebody came in.
And maybe
A
someone.
late call. Interesting.
Well, they're pushed back 15 yards. The handoff to Petty. Petty hitting the line, trucking his way forward to get 2 on what could have been a loss. But still will bring up 2nd and long. So that penalty 15 yards. Really hurting Longfellow.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if we get a chance, maybe we'll have to ask exactly what that was about.
I'm not sure. Maybe it was something to do with the equipment. They had looked like they had been warned before players were sent off. The handoff to Dower. Dower stiff-arming his way across the 45 to the 43. And that'll make it 3rd down and 18.
So you need the big play here, and that's really not been too much of a challenge here for Longfellow. You know, nice job bouncing out. Good straight arm. Good old school technique. Pickup of about 8.
So 3rd down and 18 coming up for the Longhorns. Under center is Edwards, Dower and McCall in the backfield. The handoff to McCall, and he is met right at the line of scrimmage. Good tackling by Dylan Stinson for Milkovich will bring up 4th down, and maybe we'll see the first punt situation for Longfellow.
Not sure that they even had anybody warm up. It's a kicker. Good penetration from the defensive line. Came up really quickly. Who was that? Stinson? Yeah. Yeah, you called his name. He did a nice job.
So Dower back to punt. And this one is a nice one. Bounces at the 25 and down at the 22.
Oh, good coverage downfield. Rashawn Rogers got down there pretty quickly. He might have stepped in a hole in the field, but good coverage getting down there and taking care of business.
So here's the replay, the first punt of the game.
That was a good kick, too.
And, yeah, just losing his footing there was Rogers.
That's all right. You know, that, and if you're a coach, you'll look at that and say, that happened, but he was in the position for it to happen. So, he hustled down there. He did what he was supposed to do. So give him a pat on the backside and send him on his way.
So Bell in the shotgun for Milkovich. Down 34-0. And this screen pass just falls incomplete. The intended receiver was Isaac Bizel. And that'll bring up 2nd and 10. And Longfellow's defense has had just as good of a day, if not even a better day, than their offense has.
Yeah, I'd have to go back. I haven't done the numbers here. I can actually kind of do a lot of this in my head.
And with the penalties, and in addition to the negative yardage, I wouldn't be surprised if the yardage for Milkovich is less than 0, as there's some confusion here. A fumble on the play picked up by Milkovich. Terrarian Ross.
Going to end up losing about 7. And go back to your point, the quick addition on my stat sheet ends up with that loss, it ends up being negative 37 in yards for the ball game, which is frustrating. But again, realize coming in, Milkovich knew what they had coming in, and they knew that this Longfellow squad was a pretty tough squad. And they took the long trip out here. I mean, and it is a haul from Maple Heights, but they came out here and they're giving it their best effort, which is all anyone can ask of them.
So Bell in the shotgun, looking throw, kind of overhands this one to an incompletion, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
Well, there's just not an opportunity. That defensive front for Longfellow just getting after it and getting in there as we go into the 4th quarter here. But, just no time to throw the ball whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bell's had pressure in his face all day, and that both not necessarily speaks for Milkovich as much as it speaks for the strength and the talent of this Longfellow front 7.
Well, and you've got these big guys up front, who are strong and big, but they've also got pretty good wheels, and they get after it pretty well. They seem disciplined in their pass rush or run rush routes.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing good contain on the edges. You're seeing good penetration up the middle. Still maintaining, the integrity of the defense. You don't get all crazy and start running all over the place. So, I mean, they're doing a lot of things really well in terms of the way they handle things as a defensive front.
And so, as the teams move to their new side for the fourth quarter, I can tell you once again about the Lorain School Employees Credit Union. Are you employed by or retired from the Lorain City Schools? If the answer is yes, then pay close attention to the following. The Lorain School Employees Credit Union wants to help you enter the red zone. In financial terms, that's the green zone. Earn a higher rate of return with an LSECU certificate of deposit. You call the play and pick the terms. We will provide the blocking with the best rates in town. Open the playbook and call LSECU at 282-4600 and talk with your CD coach. Put it in the end zone every time with an LSECU certificate of deposit.
Fake punt on a tough snap here, and the kicker is going to end up picking up a couple yards, but that's going to be it. He'll get out to the 20. He was kind of in between there. Tough snap, and then couldn't really get the kickoff, so he just decided to tuck it and go. High snap, which made it that much more difficult, and actually the offensive line was getting blocked right back into the punter. And it's going to net great results here for Lorain yet again, or Longfellow rather.
And essentially, really the better decision for the punter, because the alternative there is it gets blocked and then
right.
There's either a touchdown or they would have started back inside the 10. So you can't blame the punter for that one.
Unfortunately for Milkovich, you put Longfellow right back on the short porch at the 21.
And all kinds of penetration from Milkovich, but still able to get the handoff off. And that one was Dower up the middle for 1. But the most impressive thing about that play is that they still have the ball, really.
And there's got to be a way to figure out what the heck's going on with that, because all of a sudden here in this second half you've seen huge pressure right up the middle, and it's not a real big guy that's getting the pressure. It's Isaac Bizel, who's just shooting the gap. He's lining up in between the center of the guard, and he's just shooting it. There's no mystery here. More guys in the box than you have, so maybe you want to start hitting the edge.
So on 2nd and 9, Dower gets the call. Dower across the 10, across the 5, and into the end zone. There wasn't a lot of pressure that time, and Dower capitalizes, making this one 40-0. And Longfellow just keeps piling on the points.
That'll put Dower up to 40 yards on the afternoon. So you've got him at 40. You've got McCall at 40+. Harrell, we talked about him earlier with 142. And just a nice job finding the end zone. A little bit of pressure right there at the end, shed that off, and put themselves again into the end zone and really bumping up this score.
And Dower also threw for the touchdown earlier.
That's true.
As well. So getting it done as a running back and a quarterback.
A couple pretty good performances here altogether.
Yeah, very impressive stuff from this Longhorns team as a whole, as a complete unit even. Just a dominant performance. The 2-point conversion rolling out is Edwards, looking throw, tosses this one back to Dower. And Dower blown dead. His forward progress had been stopped. And so the 2-point conversion no good. But at this point it doesn't really matter. Longfellow leading 40-0. Here in the fourth quarter, and again, we don't have a clock readily available to us that is kept down on the field, but maybe just halfway through the fourth quarter, coming close to the end of this one.
Yeah, it was basically we've only run like 4 snaps from the line of scrimmage in this fourth quarter. One was that punt, and then you had a couple plays taking it in the end zone, then the extra point, and hopefully. And I know people will yell at me and chastise me greatly, because especially some football purists. But, in this situation, I'm okay with the clock moving a little fast and maybe not being stopped on all the situations where it should be stopped. When you've got to score 40-0 in a junior high ball game, as we have a timeout on the field, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to have too much of a problem with that on any level. By the way, again, I mentioned this in the first half. I wanted to say it again. And, just props to everybody here at TV20. You guys are nice enough to let me join you every once in a while and hang out and do a TV game. I certainly appreciate that. But, you look at all the ways that TV20 gets its message out. Obviously, just on air at TV20 if you're in Lorain, but also the Twitter feed and YouTube. I'm dead serious. That Twitter feed, it's popping up all the time and keeping us in touch with what's going on, regardless of the event or what have you.
And, we couldn't do a lot of this without our student volunteers. Nicholas Guzman, Dwayne Atkins here today, and a whole bunch come out for the Friday games. And
give yourself some credit too there, buddy.
And, of course, I'm here.
Yeah, Hyatt's always around.
And then, of course, Terry Trout and Joe Bach help run the whole show, keep the lights on at TV20.
Yeah.
And
they're all right.
give them credit.
I like them.
So another a high snap here, and Lamar Bell just wrapped up in the backfield and brought down. But at the same time, it's good just to see him back in the game. He looked like he got maybe a minor injury earlier. And it's good to see it's not something too serious.
Right. And there's just not a whole lot going well for Milkovich on this particular afternoon. Timing's busted up because that snap ended up sailing a little bit and floated, and everybody takes off on the snap. Well, if it's not good, then you run into those kinds of situations. You end up moving backwards. It's been a tough afternoon for these young men, and Bell with a little hitch in his giddy up yet again. Looks like he's going to step over into the wide receiver position.
Yeah, it looks like Devin Bishop under center.
Uh-oh.
And a fumble here, ball loose, and Jesus Areola picks that one up. And Longfellow will get a takeover just outside of the red zone again after the turnover.
Just a snap, never really exchanged between the center and the quarterback. Ball bounces out. Jesus there to pick it up and fist pump into the air, picked it up and gave it to the Longhorns. Set up again handsomely at the 21. That's the same place they started last time.
So Cario Edwards replaced Dower at quarterback and has been there since Dower is the fullback and McCall is the halfback. Dower gets the call at the 10, brought down right around the 6-yard line. And Dower disappointed he couldn't break that one, but you can't have one-play drives every time.
That'll take him up to 55 yards on the afternoon. And, again, it's just that quick off-tackle little hit. You get past the line of scrimmage, and you've got the advantage. The running backs for Longfellow are pretty big guys. I mean, they're fairly mature for a group of 8th graders and really able to pick up yards almost at will.
So 1st and goal from the 6. Edwards to keep it himself, and he will get there. This one is 46-0. And now the margin of victory greater than even that General Johnny Wilson game they wanted to see so badly. Luckily, we were able to cover this one for them because
no doubt, yeah.
They're going to have fun watching this one. And here Edwards just, again, showing that speed, able to get to the corner and get the yardage before anyone could touch him. And here's the 2-point conversion. Flag thrown, some trouble on the snap. And this one going against Longfellow, and that will be declined as they didn't get the 2-point conversion anyway. And so 46-0 here in the 4th quarter. Maybe we'll get one more look at Milkovich's offense as we don't have a clock, but you sense the time ticking down in the 4th.
It should be wearing kind of thin, and Well, I would imagine this would be one of those things when you get to the end of the year and you have your banquet for football, you might just put this game on in the background just to have an opportunity to watch it, because this has been a pretty dominant performance offensively, defensively, just about everything that you'd want to see from a ball club you've seen here this afternoon from Longfellow.
So Bell in the shotgun. Snap low again. Able to get the handoff off, though. And that one will go for 10 yards. Lance Nimmer on the run. And that might be the one highlight we have all day for Milkovich. And a well-executed play.
Well, yeah, nothing fancy. It doesn't have to be at this level. Just get the exchange between the quarterback and the running back. You get into the second level. You work forward, and you pick up 9 yards. Actually, they're going to go ahead and give them all 10.
So 1st and 10 from their own 45 for Milkovich.
It's nice to be able to say that,
Mm-hmm. And at this level, it's not necessarily whether you win or lose, but getting the fundamentals of the game down. And that's something Milkovich has honestly improved on throughout this game, as Bell able to pull the ball down and get 5 yards.
Well, I think we saw that more defensively than anything else, although now they're starting to move the ball a little bit. You saw an adjustment in the way they're going to play that defense. They're going to shoot the gaps and try to disrupt the timing for Longfellow, and to some extent they've done that, despite the fact that Longfellow continues to score. Now you see on the offensive side of things some little bit better exchanges and working upfield and picking up some positive yards. You've got, 15 yards on this drive, which, is your best offensive performance of the afternoon by far.
So Bell trying to add to that, makes some men miss in the backfield, and gets another first down across almost to the 40 and dragged out of bounds.
Pickup of about 10 on that one and another first down. Now here, if you're Longfellow, here's where it gets iffy, because all of a sudden, Milkovich is starting to do some really good things offensively. You shed a tackle in the backfield. You end up picking up 10 yards, avoiding a second tackle a little bit further downfield. You don't want to give up the shutout. You really don't want that.
Especially for these defense-only players.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they take pride in from this game.
See Milkovich coming out the huddle with a little bit of something to prove here as time wanes here. On a cloudy, sometimes sunny, sometimes wet, sometimes snowy afternoon in Northeast Ohio. There's going to be 5 freebies.
And they're checking with the line.
Oh, they're going to call procedure on Milkovich. Interesting, the one official was a little bit further upfield, said, nah, you got to back this one up. The other official saw something happen but didn't quite. No, they are going to call
the offsides. Yeah. A little bit of a discussion going on there, and Milkovich will gladly take those 5 yards.
No doubt.
So Milkovich at the Longfellow 35. Again, time likely winding down in the 4th, but, I mean, they want to get something on the board still.
Well, there was some movement along the offensive line. There's no question about that. That may have brought those guys off. Tough to say who initiated the movement.
Bell looking to the air, lobs this one up, and that is a penalty flag for sure. Looks like Kamal Walker completely taken down. Demaria Worthy on the coverage.
And Worthy just ran into it. He was, I think in his mind, he was playing the ball, and he just ran up the back of the potential receiver.
We'll see maybe it here. Looking there, you can just see on the ground.
Now, one might argue that there's no way anybody was going to catch that pass.
Now, I'm not sure. I know the rule in high school is there's no such thing as an uncatchable ball when it comes to interference. I'd assume that's the same thing for junior high.
Typically, the rules, with some exceptions, are the same, I would agree. Step off 15.
So now Milkovich at the 20 with the interference call. Bell just going to take off with this one, and he will get to the 15. So Milkovich in the red zone here late in the 4th quarter.
Nice pickup of 5 here, and we kind of heard that Bell was their go-to guy, and we hadn't seen a whole lot of him in terms of running the ball, but that certainly looked pretty impressive.
Bell looking to the air, lobs this one up, nearly intercepted.
Oh boy, that was close.
That one fell incomplete. Johan Suarez on the coverage.
Ball goes up. There's a lot of air on this, and not the prettiest pass that you'll ever see, but just well played. Look at that. Anticipating, high pointing, getting up there, and at least making a play on the ball, making sure that the receiver didn't catch it.
So 3rd down and 5 from the 15 for Milkovich. Interesting to see how they react with time ticking down. High snap. Bell tosses this one out and incomplete. The intended receiver, Isaac Bizel.
So a little bit behind Bizel. He couldn't really get turned around for it. That's a tough catch at any level to make. That ball coming behind, but I also think it was fairly well defensed. You see some pressure coming off the edge here. They'll just pop it up. Actually, look at that. He might have had some yards.
And that pass maybe just a bit too high. Bizel not the tallest guy on the field out there. So 4th and 5, Milkovich going for it. Bell in trouble. This one's for the shutout, and Longfellow drops him for a sack, and they'll take over.
I would imagine you've mentioned it a couple times. Time's waning here. I tell you what, a couple of the offensive linemen never even moved there. Not quite sure if they missed the snap count in the huddle or what happened.
I'm not sure what that was, but
it was awkward looking to say the least.
And again, maybe some sort of just a miscommunication. And Dower returns under center to take a knee, and Longfellow will get out of this one with a victory. Again, 46-0, they defeat Milkovich of Maple Heights. And the Longfellow Longhorns excited about this win. And they should be, as they completely dominated play. And really an impressive performance for these Longhorns.
Well, you go down the list and you try to evaluate exactly what you saw today, and you saw a lot of really good things. You saw some really good line play. We didn't have a lot of chance to talk about that, but there was some really good line play, both on the offensive and defensive side of things. Some really good performances by your running backs defensively. You pitch a shutout. In the end, you keep this Milkovich team to 0 points and less than positive yards despite that last drive. You've done everything you wanted to do in this ball game. Tip of the cap to the Milkovich kids. Hung in there, kept playing right up until that last, kept trying to improve and do the positive things. You mentioned that there in the fourth quarter, Hyatt. But, this particular afternoon, sometimes you run into a team that's better than you, and that's exactly what happened to Milkovich. This Longfellow squad, pretty good ball club.
And the score shows that Longfellow, again, 46-0 over Milkovich. Well, thank you all at home for watching. We hope you enjoyed this one as much as we enjoyed watching it and talking about it here in the booth. Until next time on WLCS TV 20, we hope you all have a wonderful night. This is Hyatt Hernan and Don Vincent signing off.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools TV 20 WLCS.
To purchase a high-quality copy of the program you just viewed, please call Lorain City Schools Television at 282-8400.